Well, we talked about flexibility, and I think in any system, any viewing system, flexibility is really important to adapt to the different styles of interpretation that various radiologists may have.
Well, that's something that's hard to get out of me personally. You're not going to get flexibility out of me.
That's
On the other
certainly
hand, what I've seen in this is that I've always had a great deal of difficulty juggling all the ways that you could possibly look at it and so on. And I was very impressed with the hanging protocol setup for this, that you can individualize it. It's very flexible and it's very intuitive, which is nice, you know. That's a real advantage, because it turns out that as much as I'd like everyone to read exactly as I do, because I do it the best way, everybody wants to do it differently, and that's a good thing, I think.
Well, you have to be able to have different hanging protocols for different individuals. But I like speed when I'm reading screenings, and I don't like to have to wait for the images to come up, and I like to have very rapid transit from one setting to another. So that, for me, is very important.
But do you remember the bad old days when we read film and there was a big argument of, does the left go on the right, does the right go on the left?
I remember.
And so our technologists tried to keep everybody happy, since we were about a 50-50 split, so they would hang half the films on with the right on the left and half the films with the left on the right.
Yeah, but I put a stop to that. But
Yeah,
nonetheless,
but now you have a perfect,
don't have to make
perfect
that
electronic nanny here. You can't go wrong like that. It's not going to let you do it.
Correct,
okay?
correct.
So that's a pretty nice feature.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's lots of little safeguards here. You know, I tried to make some notations on a film on this a few minutes ago, and it said, you can't do that. That's the previous film, you know. So, have you ever read the wrong film? I mean, you've heard of that in our practice, right? Where people read the old one as if it's the new one and so on.
That's definitely.
Well, they got nice big numbers along the side, so you can make sure you're not doing
That's a
that.
good
You
thing.
know,
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
We used to waste a lot of time before we had automatic prefetches, that we'd have to look and search for prior studies. So being able to prefetch all the exams the night before and have them preloaded on the system is really very helpful in terms of speed again. Speed of interpretation, speed of getting the prior
Absolutely.
films available.
Yeah, and I mean, just the simple fact of, like, you're trying to compare an old one to new one, and maybe you want to do it back to back. It's like Emerald says, bam, you know, it's just right there for you, you know. You have no problem with it. Now, I have to say this, that I was very impressed with the speed of this when I was using it.
The notable thing that got me excited at the beginning was the fact that we can actually have shutters on the workstation, sort of blanking out parts of the breast, so we can focus on masking techniques and finding cancers more easily, which is something Dr. Tabar's talked about for a long time. I think we need obviously basic functionality in the new digital era, but I think that is one of the things that I particularly appreciate, and it should help radiologists in general with perception. I strongly feel that's a very good addition to this.
Well, you've taught, how many residents and fellows have you taught?
I can't imagine. I mean, over 30,
You can use your
over
metric.
30 fellows at this point.
30 fellows. So,
Yeah.
and when you train them, what do you try to get them to do? I mean, here's a sequence that always occurs with me. You go, do you see anything? No. How about if I do this? Do you see anything? Well, I don't know. It's a little asymmetric. So you thought it was normal before, right? What do you think now? Well, maybe there's a cancer there. You know, so it's kind of it's an interesting stimulus to the human brain, which is naturally reluctant to make any great conclusions.
Well, of course, you have to teach about where cancers are and teach
Yeah,
some
but it
generalities,
helps
but
you
really,
teach, right?
It really helps tremendously.
You know, there's a number of things we do. We have to look at the images and figure out. This is, you know, definitely a good solution for that. Then we've got things, little aids to help us out, like CAD and so on, which is built in here. You can flash it on, you can flash it off, you can use different CAD systems. But the bane of radiologists is always getting out, what do they think about the thing, you know, in a report. So what we've seen here is further development of the desirable holy grail to allow radiologists to report right from the same workstation that they're working with, rather than going to another. Remember, we had, what did we have at our last venue of unnamed? We had 3 keyboards, the worst was 2 mice,
Right.
you know, we had 5 monitors
Right.
and so on.
Yeah, so being able to integrate the reporting with it.
Absolutely, definitely the holy grail. And
It's definitely a good idea.
it's a tough problem because, you know, every hospital gets its different risks and its different reporting system and its different packs and so on, but the degree of compatibility here seems to be going up, you know, as we would like it to. You know, like in business, they always want it better and faster. And they usually can't do both of them, right? This is a trade-off.
Yeah.
This seems to fit the bill because you're getting it done with a higher quality and potentially faster now.
Right.
You know, this company, instead of going out and making stuff that they say, hey, you radiologists really need this, you know, they've listened in particular
Well,
to some of the things I've said, and now we have a product that I think is pretty interesting
Well, I
to
think
use.
the fact we have masking techniques, which is something I've been wanting for years and years, speaks to that also quite well.
And to this day, we still go to the ACR boot camp, and we have to like reach on the desk for pieces of paper, and trying to train people how to see these things. We hold them up and we mask them like this, and they fall down and so on. And I think what's happened is we have here a lot of the companies made very nice, very admirable workstations, but they were just replicating the standard kind of hanging protocols we have with old film. And what we're doing now, Threepalm's moved into the dynamic era. They're doing something which can move.